starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
All over the place today. Absolutely all over the place. It's like
We are. I was reading something on the internet then and realised that we'd gone live. Typical.
I have
How are
no
you
idea.
today, anyway?
Not too bad. Not too bad. What about you, Mike? You
Not bad.
working hard?
I am. I'm just debating whether we should have a Piers Morgan moment today and one of us storm off and say, that's it, not coming back. But, hey, we've got to do at least 5 years before we can do that and have 41,000 complaints.
Oh, well, apparently he is going to have the most complaints that have ever been lodged against a TV show. So they were saying this morning. The last time was the Jay Goody incident in Big Brother, way back, many years ago.
Gosh, when was that? It was about 2001, wasn't it?
It was a it was a racial attack, wasn't it, or something like that? That Jay Goody just decided to go off. And obviously, the thing I find though with these people, well, obviously he's a reporter, so he will speak his mind and he will stand by what he's saying. But we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that conversation.
No, let's not go into that at all. No.
We decided today that obviously we're not going to talk about the Meghan Markle incident or the situation. Yeah,
mention names. Let's just avoid it altogether. So it was 2000 was the Jade Goody. I think Jade Goody was in Big Brother. That's going back a bit, isn't it?
That is. Do you know 2000? That's 20 years ago. That's 20 years ago. Because
when you were just a wee nipper at the age of 30.
I know, dude. And what were you? What was I doing? What was I doing at the age of 30? I think I was plumbing still. I think I'm still plumbing, yeah. What about you? What were you doing?
So, 10 years ago, with Big Brother, you're going to have to fill in because somebody's coming to pick this up. And I'm just going to pass it through the window. 1 second. So.
That's all right. So, 30 years ago, I think I was plumbing. We were living in Bracknell at the time, and it was we were having fun. Yeah, all done. All done.
Yeah, all done. So what was I doing? 2000. I remember on the turn of the millennium actually being on duty with Mountain Rescue, covering the ambulances, and I was studying theology to be a minister. And I think in 2000 I went to Fiji as well for 4 months as part of my studies.
You went to Fiji for your studies. Most people go for a holiday. You went for your studies.
Yeah, people from here don't go for a holiday, do they? So to Fiji, but yeah, I went for a 4-month study thing. It was great.
Where did you stay? Did you stay like in a churchy sort of monastery place, or did you have a room with a pool? How was it?
Room with a pool, if only. No, I studied at Pacific Theological College, which is in Suva, which is the capital of Fiji. Yeah, absolutely great place. At the time, it was next to the Parliament building. The Parliament building is now moved, and also next to Suva Boys Grammar School or High School. And it was great because you were right on the coast. So I stayed in a chalet with 4 of us. We're in there staying together. And remember, the best advice I was given was if you go to the toilet in the night, make sure you put shoes on because standing on a millipede really hurts. And I thought that was really good advice. And then also then did some visits into the interior to various parts to look at church projects and learn about something wonderful. And having served with loads of Fijians in the army, if they're listening, they'll know what I'm on about. Learn to understand Fiji time, which is, you say something's going to happen at 10, but Fiji time is it happens when it happens. And I remember being at a wonderful Fijian Methodist church in the interior, and I looked at my watch and thought, oh, it's 6 o'clock, it's time for the service, or 10 o'clock, time for the service. And I'm looking at the minister, and he said, stop being British. He said, it starts when they tell us it starts, which is when they start playing the drums, which acted as the bells type thing. So 40 minutes later, we went to church.
Okay.
He said it's when there's enough people there. It's kind of
more insights about Mike's history next week.
Intriguing time. But yeah, so we're on to local news. Yeah, there's been a lot happening this week, hasn't there?
Hang on. Yes, there has been a lot happening this week, Mike.
A lot happening this week. So I don't know about you, but my house is really peaceful. It's wonderful. What's your house like?
Well, we've still got one upstairs. We've still got one upstairs. He's going. We've got to go and do his lateral flow today, and then he starts back at school tomorrow, and then that's it.
That's brilliant. Both mine went back to King's yesterday, which is wonderful. So, yeah, lots of parents are breathing a sigh of relief because the children have gone back to school, but also there's a huge amount of anxiety around it, isn't it? I was helping with the lateral flow tests at King's on Monday and Friday last week, and the amount of anxiety amongst the youngsters, the children, is quite high. One, because they've been watching TikTok and various videos about the disasters of the lateral flow test and how you do them that are totally wrong. We had one student who thought that the cotton bud that they use goes all the way up into your brain, which was quite bizarre.
Have you had any of them get it around the wrong way, where they put it up their nose and then put it in their mouth?
No. We supervise them.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with that? It's just like picking your nose and eating your crows.
Oh, lovely. But we have had. Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
It did go well. My son yesterday, though, was giggling because I got a message saying his sample had not worked, so he had to do it twice yesterday. He wasn't thrilled when he got home. I had to do it twice. And I said, why did you have to do it twice? And he went, the tester put the wrong test tube in the bin. And it's kind of, okay.
Oh, okay.
Having been the processor the day before, I know how easy that is to do because I processed 102 tests on Monday, which was wonderful. But it was just great to be a part of the whole process and getting the children back to school and hopefully getting their education going again. I've not got a great concern about my kids because they've been engaging with it, but there's some that have really struggled. And my youngest was thrilled just to see the friends again. So,
we've had a few issues here, and it has been difficult, especially if they're doing their GCSEs. They are so concerned. Well, I wouldn't say, probably some of them aren't, but certainly in this household, they have been quite concerned about what's going on. And at one point, we had to say, look, that she needs to go to school because she's struggling. And luckily, the school said, "Yeah, that's fine. We've got no problem with that." So
I was thinking the other day, do you know, if it was back when I was doing my GCSEs and they told me that the exams weren't happening, what would my reaction be? And looking back on it, I think I'd have gone. That's what I think I'd have gone. But I think there's more pressure now than there was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Of that. And I knew that I could go to college, do my A levels, catch up with GCSEs. It wasn't the end of the world. And certainly in the 90s in Salford, it was a lot more laid, but it didn't feel as stressed. My parents were always keen for us to do the best we could. And I certainly gave it the best shot I could. Came away with some decent GCSEs. But you're right, Lisa, they do get used to it so quickly of being at home and being at school. What's been lovely, Lisa, with your kids, I've had a lovely wave and a smile from them every time I've seen them. But you and and I was coming to that point and saying GCSEs are so important now, and they put so much stress on them. And it's the same with the SATs in year 6. Thankfully, they've been dropped this year. With the schools and the parents and everyone put so much stress, society, on children to make sure these exams go well. And I think the concern this year is, have they made a good impression on the teacher? Have they done well in their mocks so that the teacher can make that rounded assessment of what grade they should get? And it puts a huge amount of stress then individually on the teacher, because if the teacher gets the grade wrong, the backlash is instant because the parents know who the teacher is. Whereas with an exam board, it's an anonymous individual that's made that decision. So it's really a lot of stress for everyone.
It is. And I really feel for these students. I mean, they're not just the ones doing their GCSEs, but other
A-levels
students
as well, isn't it?
A-levels, and also university students as well who have been struggling. And not only that, there are adults out there who are taking exams for work and things like that, again, who have been struggling. So exams right across the board, I feel that basically a lot of people have been struggling, and they will be feeling so relieved to actually get back to work. But obviously other things have been happening in the local area as well. Main thing was schools going back this week. Yep. But Mike, have you got anything else there?
I was going to say the other one that's happened this week, people might have not spotted it in the news because there's been other things in the news this week, not mentioning it, but it's that the political parties are allowed to do electioneering again from Monday. just gone. So they're allowed to post leaflets through the door and in pairs just talk to people on the doorstep. And that's because we've got the local council elections coming up on May the 9th. And that, is it May the 9th? In May, anyway.
Funny you should say that. Next week, we have a special guest who will be talking about that.
Superb. So that's good. So, yeah, the campaigning started. And in this area, there's 3 elections actually going on. One is the county council elections for our county division councillors. The other is the police and crime commissioner elections. And if you're in Bagshot, there's a borough councillor election happening as well for a councillor that sadly died last year. And that's, well, over 18 months ago now. And that's to fill that slot. So they're really important elections. And I'd say to people, you know, if you're nervous about going out to vote, you can do it via postal voting. Just go onto the Surrey Heath Borough Council website and search on their website for postal vote, and you can register with the electoral officer there for a postal vote. It's very easy. I do postal votes, and it just makes life easier. The one thing I would say when it comes to postal votes, do not send your form to anybody other than the borough council, because there's lots of personal information on there. Just send it to the borough council. And I think that's the other one that's worth mentioning this week. You know, I don't know about you, but I've had a huge amount of amusing phone calls over the last couple of days of fake calls. And I was on a meeting last week after we'd had our thing. And it was about the amount of not malicious phone calls, but fraudulent phone calls, trying to get people to give money. And I've had them this week.
They seem to be wanting money for flow tests, wanting money for the big one at the moment is obviously the Inland Revenue. Inland Revenue only ever contact you via post. They won't phone, they won't text, they won't send you an email. They will only send.
The funniest one I got with the phone call. Apparently, it was a recorded message that was informing me it was the National Crime Agency, and they were. I was going to be prosecuted, which I didn't get beyond that because I just went, yeah, right, dink. But it was one of those where, you know, if the police are going to tell you you're going to be prosecuted, they're not going to ring you up, are they? No. So, you know, please be sensible, folks. If somebody says it's the police or the National Crime Agency, which is our FBI equivalent, hang up. And if they're going to prosecute you, they'll come and knock on the door. They'll come and talk to you. And I had one a year ago when we were doing Surrey Heath Prepared that apparently I was being taken to court for something, and he'd got the whole court system wrong. And I said, that's interesting. You're taking me to Crown Court for that because it's the county court that deals with that. And he went, put the phone down. So be very aware of your phone calls and what you give out. And interestingly, the calls I've had this week, they've all been from very early mobile phone numbers. So 07711 something. So quite early serials, probably so my phone number's a similar number and it's from 1994. So these are probably 1993 registered phone numbers. So if you don't recognize the number, be very careful. And the same, be careful with text messages from various people. Remember, you get call forwarded a vaccine with a text message that says NHS vaccines. It's you're not going to get it from a random number. So
and it normally has
second question everything.
It normally has no reply at the bottom of it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. My wife got that one on Friday. You know, she's been called forward because of a health condition. And it does say NHS vaccines. It's very clear. It will not ask you to pay money for your vaccine. It will not ask for personal details. It will just book your appointment.
Can I just say with the vaccines, okay, we seem to have jumped an age group, all right? We seem to be in the 40s now. We went from 60s to 40s. What about us? What about the 50-year-olds? Do we not count?
I think my wife got called because of an underlying health condition, so I'm sure it'll catch up with you, Neil.
Oh, I hope so. Jason obviously is watching as well. He's sending me essays of the Surrey Heath Youth Hub. Apparently are going to have somewhere in the square in Camberley. So
yes, I saw that the other day. It's really exciting. I also saw in the square in Camberley they were creating a bike hub. So it's one of the shops where you can park your bike for free while you're going to do your shopping.
That's a really good idea.
Great idea. Yeah, a bike stop. Fabulous idea. So once we're able to get back into the town, which isn't yet, the shops aren't open yet. Pause. And the shops open on no earlier than the 12th of April. So do
you have that on your calendar?
I've got printed out here the government roadmap, because I keep getting asked about it.
On Mike's calendar, a massive great circle with like arrows pointing to it and smiley face going, "Shops open, yes."
But shop local. And the other one I'd say is we've hidden a Lovecamberley stone somewhere in Camberley. So it's the Lovecamberley logo, and it's been hidden somewhere in Camberley. And I'd love to hear if somebody's managed to find it and just post it below the stream here. So it's got the Lovecamberley heart, and it's got the Facebook address on the back. So it'd be lovely to see if somebody finds that. I know where it is because I hid it. So we'll just see where it turns up.
But it's not only that. It's not only that, is it? You went out with Little Tomlinson, and you did. Yeah. All these stones are roundabout, aren't they?
They are. They're hidden in various places around Camberley, in the parks, in flower beds, in random places. Keep an eye out for them, and if you see any of them, take a picture and post it on our Facebook group page. That would be absolutely fabulous. And they all have at Highcross Church on the back, so you'll know they're from us. But yeah, we had some stones, and something popped up on Amazon about ordering some acrylic pens for painting stones, and I thought, oh, why not? So,
why not? You've got a bit of
time.
But
the other one local, Neil, is to mention your postcards, isn't it? I'll hold them up.
The postcards, they are. Hang on.
I've got a selection of them.
Yes. So basically, what we've got is our background at the moment is the postcard. You've got the elephant in the top. You've got that's it. You've got the elephant. You've got the cafe, the Highcross Cafe at the top. You've got a nice picture of Camberley down there, and you've got the theatre. So yeah. I'm gonna be wandering around Camberley when we can do, handing these out to shopkeepers
and shop staff, and it reminds you of that basic message that you're not alone. Have a cuppa on us because there's a tea bag in the back, and if you need help or a chat or another cuppa, give us a call. And the main message is you're not alone. Pick up the phone, isn't it, Neil? That was your. You put up that picture.
Sorry. Sorry. Don't be alone. And that's really, really important, because you're not alone, and there are people out there who are willing to. If you, if you don't want to talk to a friend, or you want to talk to someone who's not that close to you, but willing to listen, then give Highcross a ring. Failing that, there are other agencies out there who you can talk to. So let's move on.
Don't be alone. And we know it's hard going back to work in the shops, and we know that people are nervous because they've been on furlough for so long. But we're sending you a cup of tea with our love and best wishes is the main thing. Yes.
Now I want to talk about DIY. Now, a few days ago, all right, I decided that we would go out in the garden and we would start doing patio stuff. Yeah. And what blokes do with patio stuff, they get out the Jetta. Yes. Now, unfortunately, our Jetta has broken, so I had to borrow my old man's Jetta, my father's Jetta, and he has a super duper. It has everything on it. It has a patio brush. It has on those circular patio things. It has window washers. It has absolutely everything. So anyway, and it's looking so good out there at the moment.
But have you had that problem where you start and you just don't know where to finish? You just keep going.
I'm doing it in sections because we have a herringbone all the way around the house, so we're doing it in sections. So, and I feel doing it in sections, and we're early. We are quite early.
You are, yeah.
So it's given us time to do it. So I've done the back, I've done the driveway under the carport, and we're going to do the front next weekend. And it's quite good. It's like, well, that's that bit finished now, so you can just walk away from it. But you are right. Sometimes people are like, oh, just a bit more. And the next thing you know, you realise you've been out there all day. And
but you did the outside Highcross last summer, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Away around the outside of the building.
I did. And you do get carried away because it is like, oh, just jet up there and jet up there and jet up and jet up there, and then people come up behind you going, you missed a bit. Yeah, because obviously you can only get up so high. So high on a building, you can't go too far. So,
but I think a power washer, a jet washer, is the ultimate man's tool, isn't it? Because I did the same a couple of weeks ago. I went to clean the barbecue, and mine just went and died. So I had to buy a new one, and I have to say that was the highlight of my year so far. Is this power washer coming?
I know, and Mike and I were exchanging comments. We were getting quite excited talking about power washers. It's quite interesting. Sad.
But the question is, how much DIY do people do? How much DIY have they done during the lockdown? I yesterday reluctantly resealed around the back of the kitchen sink because I hate doing things with sealant.
No, I normally do it. You normally get me to do it. That's why.
I know. So I hate doing it, but the kitchen sink needed doing, and so did round the back of that. It looks nice and neat. I've just got to do a bit of tidying up. I don't mind painting, don't mind bits and bobs, but how serious are people into DIY? My father-in-law is one that will build an outbuilding without thinking about it. He built his garden shed from scratch, and will do stuff. My dad used to be very similar. He'd turn his hand to anything and have a go. But how serious a DIY are you? And how many tools have you got? I certainly don't have I was watching Escape to the Chateau the other day, and Dick was building his new workshop, which was every bloke watching was drooling.
Do you know what?
And I was looking at it thinking, I want a lathe. I don't know what I'd do with it, but I just love a lathe. And it was just lovely to see this stuff. But I don't have a huge amount of power tools.
Dick Strawbridge is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He can turn his hand to. If you haven't seen it, Escape to the Chateau is amazing. Basically, him and his wife and his in-laws bought a chateau 6-7 years ago.
6 years ago.
Normally you buy a fixer-upper. Okay, not Dick Strawbridge. No, you buy a chateau fixer-upper for, I don't know how many bedrooms it's got. It's got like 15 bedrooms,
like that. And it wasn't a fixer-upper. It was a needs pulling downer. But they fixed it up. It's absolutely stunning. And I just love the fact when they're talking about something, and his wife Angel, is it Angel?
Angel, yes.
Comes up with something, and you see him roll his eyes, and it's such a genuine, oh, great. But it then always comes to fruition. You can tell they're throwing money at it as well as using his engineering expertise. But it's it's
but
quite
the thing is, they're not throwing that much money. They haven't got a lot of money.
No, they're doing a lot of it themselves, which is amazing.
He's had to do everything himself. Like when the day he moved in, the floor, the floor where you in the hallway was broken, so he had to fix that. He had never fixed it before. The front doors were covered in lead paint, so he had to scrape off all the lead paint and repaint them. And the thing is, people in everyday houses around Camberley, there are loads of old houses. I mean, people buy, and there is a saying basically: when you buy an old house, you don't own the house owns you.
Absolutely. But that's the same with any house, isn't it?
It is. Oh, Jason's just saying about DIY SOS, and ironically, Jason knows Nick Knowles.
Why does that not surprise me? So, Jason, what year did DIY SOS start?
You've got him there.
We'll see what he comes in with. But it's we bought a house recently and we're renting it out, but it's one of those that just needed some minor things doing that we had to have tradespeople in. Like the consumer unit needed changing, which you have to have an electrician in to do that because it's a legal requirement.
License.
Yeah, and he also sorted out a couple of problems with the built-in smoke alarms and provided us with the electrical safety certificate so we can rent it out. But we've then got all the eaves on the outside need painting, and it was one of those. My father-in-law said, "Oh, we need to pay somebody. I'm not doing that." So we've got somebody who's doing that for us, painting all the eaves. But it's a 4-day job of sanding it all down, cleaning it all up, and painting it because we don't know when it was last done. But the house is now in a state. You've just copied that from Wikipedia. And I know you've copied that from Wikipedia because I'm looking at the same thing myself. That's cheating.
But yeah, no, I this year I've embraced a lot more DIY. I'm not really DIY. Being a tradesperson myself, it's the
worst DIYers though, aren't they?
They are. I mean, my bathroom is still not finished upstairs. It's been sort of at least 4 years. It's waiting for a bath panel. But the thing is, you know, I think a lot of people last year embraced DIY. You know, they were buying things online. My parents are redecorating their house. Okay. They bought a 25-litre tub of magnolia paint, and they're gradually going around the whole house, repainting it, as I like to call it, Camberley beige, which is magnolia.
I call it army beige because every army house was magnolia.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they still are embracing it, even though we're starting to go back. And I think because with DIY shop, people are a bit nervous about going to the DIY shops with B&Q and things like that. So I think they've held off a bit. But now it seems to be the in thing. And now with the warm weather coming, we're all going outside. And because we couldn't last year, we couldn't do barbecues, we couldn't have gatherings, we couldn't have people coming around. Yeah. So this summer, I think, is going to be total. I'm looking at coloured festoon lighting to put up.
Dear.
I know.
We've got twinkly lights, fairy lights around the garden, which are quite nice, that we've had for a couple of years. But I cleaned the barbecue the other day, and I thought, oh, it'll only take me a couple of hours. Yeah, whole day's job, but the barbecue is clean. And the next job I've got to do on the man task list is the patio. So, yeah, the patio's got to be cleaned. Sadly, this weekend, it looks like the weather's not going to be great, so it's going to have to wait.
It's got to be...
The patio and the patio furniture's got to be done.
Yeah, I'm at that stage, though, with the patio. We have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, which is cleaning the patio. We then have stage 4, which is spraying weed killer on the patio. And then we have stage 5, which is the laying the sand. But do you lay the sand before the weed killer? You know,
have you not got patio flags or something?
No, it's called herringbone. So
you fill in the gaps.
Yeah, you have sand to fill in the gaps. But do you put that down first and then do the weed killer, or do you do the weed killer after? I don't know on that one. I'm going to have to Google it, I'm afraid.
You're going to have to because. Yeah, I must admit, I don't put sand on my patio anymore because it disappears into the void and is never seen again. It's a waste of money. And I've even tried that kinetic sand, you know, that kind of is meant to expand. No, I need expanding foam under my patio flags. It's the only answer.
But you got flagstones, haven't you? Yeah. So I think herringbone's slightly different. It doesn't sort of dissipate, and I know what you mean. It sort of disappears. But then we have a big ant problem as well, which we need to get sorted out this year. So,
well, you know, I'm sure you've not been able to see your ant for a year, so you should be okay. Right, that was very bad. But, my patio's at the stage where it all needs lifting and resetting, and you know what? I can't be bothered. It's fine, and it'll do us this year. But it's I wonder how much DIY jobs people do. You know, we painted a few rooms. I'm not having an allotment, no way. A few rooms, but the allotments are fabulous. We've got a few people at church have allotments, and that I think it's that ability to be in the outdoors, and that's what we're all looking forward to, isn't it? To be able to be back out in the sunshine, have some fresh air, and to be able to physically say hi to people. I think we're going to have the restrictions in for a while, and that's a really good thing to say, isn't it? Actually. Yeah, the restrictions have been lifted for schools, so kids have gone back to school. But you know, stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives is still the mantra, because the NHS still has 8 times more admissions than the summer last year. And as the Prime Minister said, and we still need to wash our hands, wear a mask, and make space. Hands, face, and space has still got to be that mantra to keep us safe, because we just don't know what's going to happen in the next bit, do we?
And also, I think that it's going to be around for a very long time, a very, very long time. Well, look, Jason, haven't got any work today. You're typing away. It's like so. We've got that was the details for the allotment. So we're going to put those up afterwards. And he's also he's also been on. He's got Facebook as well. Look at this. So Jason, if you can message me all that stuff, then I will. I'll put something together and we can put this out. So I just think the summer's coming. It's going to be great. I'm really hoping it's going to be a summer like last year, because that would be fantastic. So
and it was a fabulous summer, wasn't it? And it was just great to be able to be outside. I just hope this year we're going to be in a place where we can have friends around. But that's why we've got to stick to the rules, so we can make sure these restrictions are lifted on the dates the government said, and not having to push them back. Because if we see another rise, you know, the Prime Minister has been said quite openly that the dates will slip. So we need to just be safe, really. And especially with what's coming up this weekend, we've got to make sure people don't break the rules this weekend, because it would be so easy to do it.
It will, yes.
And what's on Sunday, Neil?
I remember last year with Mother's Day, we had it all arranged. All the mothers were going to meet up. We were all going to be there. We booked a table for like 16 people, and then I think it was just before we went into lockdown. It was announced on the Friday that things were happening, and then we had a phone call from the pub. Are you still going to be honouring your booking on the Sunday? And we're like, yeah. Of course we are. Saturday, it's like, actually, I don't think we will. So I had to phone them up and cancel it. And so it was Mother's Day was the first day, I think, that got hit by COVID. And then, of course, Monday was total lockdown we went into. So Jason is doing a bit of self promotion here. Don't forget, folks, to remember to tune in soon.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, he's going to do the £1 challenge, but it is, this weekend is Mother's Day, but do keep safe, because remember, the restrictions are still there. So please do not break the rules just for the sake of giving your mum a hug this Sunday. Stick with it a little longer and you'll be able to give your mum a hug many more times over the summer. So please do bear with it. I'm certainly in the odd position. I've not seen my parents for 18 months, but they are up north. But I speak to them every week, and it's been great to be able to do that. I'm just so blessed to see them. So, to all mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I know it's not a celebration day for so many. It's a really difficult day for many people, and you're in my prayers. And please do, if you're in that category that finds Sunday very hard, please reach out to somebody and talk to somebody. There's lots of helplines out there for those that are struggling. So don't be alone, pick up the phone. But remember, the tradition of Mother's Day had nothing to do with parenthood, had nothing to do with mothers. It was about the Mother Church. And it was the day that people would come back because they were in servanthood throughout the country. Yeah, they were in service, and they'd come back home and spend the weekend at their Mother Church, go to church on the Sunday and celebrate. And it was a day of holiday, a day of rest for many. And the tradition then changed with the advent of cards and advertising to be more about motherhood rather than the Mother Church. So it's remember the history of the day, that it's about going back to your roots, going back to the church where you came from. And it's really interesting that this Sunday, strangely enough, is also Highcross's 31st anniversary. So, if you've got time, do join us on our Highcross Facebook page for our anniversary service at 10:30 on Sunday.
So I think this obviously is Mother's Day, and I really hope you got flowers, you got chocolates, you got a silly book, a silly ladybird book all ready to go. You've ordered it on Amazon, and you can get things delivered directly to them as well, which is fantastic.
Do you know what we sent my mother-in-law?
What?
We sent, because it's my father-in-law's birthday soon as well, we sent them a joint present, and they're in Northern Ireland, so it's hard getting things delivered there at the moment because of the Brexit things. So we sent them a homemade curry night kit, which is from a wonderful company called Chili Bit Spicy, which do online curry mixes. They're wonderful, and sent them a curry tin which has 4 different mixes in, and thankfully we didn't send a hot and spicy one, else my mother-in-law might have got the wrong idea. So but she does tell me what to do, and I love her for it. So
I can imagine. I mean, and the thing is, I'm quite lucky because my parents live in Camberley. Yours live, you have Northern Ireland and you have up north, so you've got to put a bit more thought, perhaps a week before delivering. It's
got to be longer these days, but we have to think about it. And they, I talk to them so regularly, but they both, what worries me more about my mother and my mother-in-law is they talk to each other, and that really scares me. For anybody who's a son-in-law, they conspire. They're a nightmare.
That is really weird. But the thing is, don't be late. Don't do the Sunday morning walk of shame to Longacre to pick up that those out of date flowers. Get in there early, okay? Go there today, tomorrow, whatever. Order them, and then you can go and pick them up. And please, no garage flowers. All right?
It's a bit like Valentine's Day, isn't it? It's It's that last minute panic. So, but do keep safe and remember, it's a day of celebration for some, but it is very hard for others. And if you're in the category that it's hard, pick up the phone and talk to somebody. You're not alone. But I think that's us for today, isn't it?
It is. We've hit that 35 minutes. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Mike. I know you're a very busy person.
You keep safe, everyone, and remember, follow the rules, and we'll be able to party like it's 1999 before it's too long.
Yes. Thank you very much. No. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.